Hello, my Brood War brothers. Welcome back to the ASL. It's time for Group E with Rush Piano, Flash, and Speed. This is the one we've been waiting for, guys. Flash is back, but only for a short time. Potentially his last season here at the ASL. We're all super curious to see what his level is like. We know he's been preparing hard. He mentioned it on stream that he is out for blood here. He wants the glory of winning this final potential ASL. He wants to donate his prize or the prize pool for this ASL to charity. He says it'll be the greatest way to go out in style and end his Brood War career. But he's got a tough group here with Rush, Piano, and Speed, a full Terran group. TVT, it's gonna be tough, man. I don't know if he can sneak out of here. I think everybody's thinking, you know what, Flash probably gonna be getting out first, but that might not be the case. I think Rush is really gonna give him a hard time, and potentially Speed or Piano could take him out. It's a best of one after all, guys.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. It's a little bit scary here today, but we all want to see Flash do well.
We absolutely do. Round of 24 is scary for just about anyone, no matter how good of a player you are with that best of one format. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get out of the group just because you're technically the better player there. Kind of interested to see how good some of these other guys played. We saw Speed have a lot of success in previous round of 24s and Terran. Piano, his name is Organ for the purposes of the display here today, but I'll be calling him Piano. He's a caster right now. He hasn't really been in the StarCraft scene for a very long time, but he is one of these OG Terrans from way back when. Very formidable player. Can't necessarily underestimate him as well. So yeah, this group is going to get a little bit spicy, and anything's possible. Like, I really don't want to cast the curse Flash and be like, oh, he's going to get out first, and then he actually gets blown out of the water and somehow drops out of this group. It's very possible. Like, it's very possible that Flash finds himself not able to get through to the round of 16. I don't think so. I think Rush and Flash will be joining us for that next stage of the tournament, but it's not something you can say is a sure thing.
No, I think we may end up having quite a few games of Flash here today, though. It's possible that, you know, Flash goes into the winners match and loses to Rush, and then, you know, has to fight in that final match. I think that would be the most exciting, the best way possible to go forward. And I really do believe that Rush probably has Flash's numbers. He's just at the absolute pinnacle of his game. If you guys don't know, if you're not keeping up with the news about Flash, he is kind of hurting right now, guys. He's been through a lot of surgeries. He's had a lot of problems with his arm. I'm surprised not to see a packed out audience here today, actually. I see some empty seats in the audience, and that's kind of shocking to me. But it still is the round of 24. Very quick day, just 4 games. So maybe not gleaning as much interest as you would deeper into the tournament. Possibly those are going to be filling up here momentarily. But yeah, Flash, he's had a lot of arm issues, not just his wrist, but his elbow and his shoulder as well. So he's had a bunch of surgeries on his nerves in his arm. He says he's in a lot of pain when he plays. He said he can play barely 10 games per day. And when it rains, he says he's in a lot of pain as well. So, you know, he's not at his top form. He's not in the very best of circumstances, but he has been practicing hard. He's been playing in things like Pro League a little bit here and there. And of course, he is the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. Like, this guy, this what else can you say? What can you say about Flash, man? Like, this is the ultimate weapon. This is the god Terran player. And, you know, he's sitting here amongst mere mortals. Everyone's expecting him to go through here today, but we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, the reality is like, just because he's got wrist injuries doesn't mean all they got to do is operate on his wrist. No, they had to like open up his entire shoulder, like the tendons and nerves, like, you know, they extend up your entire arm. It's not a minor surgery at all. I don't know if you guys ever seen the pictures, but it's pretty damn brutal. And he did claim that he was only be practicing like 10 games a day to kind of, you know, alleviate some of that pain. I don't necessarily believe him. I think he's playing a little bit more than 10 games a day if he wants to come into this ASL event with the in it to win it attitude and not just go as deep into the tournament as he can. We'll see though. I'll do a quick little group breakdown for you guys. First up onto the plate, we've got Rush, arguably one of the best Terrans on the planet at this moment. He beat out Gameo 2-0 and also True 2-0 in the finals of his day one qualifier group, and will be one of the favorites to get out of this group here today. He'll play against Piano first, who took out Lava 2-1 in the semifinals of his day one qualifiers, and Stork 2-1 in the finals. So he's in pretty good shape, but didn't play any TVT to get here today yet. So hopefully he'll still be able to put on a good show for us. He's the only caster in this tournament, so big shout out for him, still flexing his old school pro gamer credentials and being here for us. Flash, the God Emperor himself, he beat out Absolute 2-1 in the semifinals of his day one qualifier group, and Cool GG 2-0 in the finals. Historically, he's been an absolute killer in TVT, and we could see him destroy this group here today if he's in fighting condition and training more than those 10 games a day like he claims. He'll be up against Speed in his first match. Speed took down HM 2-0 in the semis of his day 2 qualifier group and went on to beating Free 2-0 in the finals to be here today. He's had a great showing in the round of 24 in TVT in previous ASL seasons, but this group is going to be a real test of that former success.
Guys, I'm just so excited right now. I don't know if you can tell. I'm tripping over myself even more than usual, but I just can't wait to see what Flash can do here. And I'm on the edge of my seat to see if he'll make it through this group. There's a couple of different stories and things that are going on behind the scenes here. We got Speed up there next to him, also known as 10-Minute Flash. That was his name for quite a long time. He claimed to be able to play as well as Flash for the first 10 minutes of the game, and it was true to some extent, but he's grown a lot since then. He used to just fall right off as soon as he passed that 10-minute mark, but he has continued to get better and better. He's made multiple appearances in the ASL so far, and he's dropped that moniker. He is now Speed. He was also Sexy in the past, by the way.
Yeah.
So he's changed his name quite a few times. But sitting right here next to Flash, the guy who obviously he looked up to a lot by changing his name to that,
Right.
having that as his moniker. Like, it must be kind of surreal for Speed to be sitting there right now. Look at that 4-time ASL champion, 4 stars on his jacket, displayed with pride there by Flash, looking to put another star up there. But it's going to be a hard season, man. It's not going to be an easy run, and it won't be an easy run through this group either. Rush is incredibly strong. He has been dominating in places like the KCM, and then we've got the KCM caster sitting right next to him.
Yeah.
Piano. He's the guy who's joining us every single week next to KCM, breaking down the plays and being the analyst caster there. So he is just a wealth of knowledge. I saw his games in the qualifier. He didn't have me like super sold on his ability to play. Like I felt like his ideas were really good, but he's never been a super fast player. He's never been like very high paced, great at multitasking, that sort of player. He's more of a brainy player, and that's going to be tough. Like playing against Flash, I think it'll be a no-brainer that Flash will win. Also, Rush, I think, should be able to take him down. They're just very brainy players as well, and they've got all the other pieces of the puzzle, right? They've got the speed, they've got the multitasking, and they've got the big brain. So, taking down either of those players is going to be hard. It's just nice to have Piano in here anyway, representing a bit of that KCM spirit.
Yeah, I think that's the funny thing about players like Flash is like if you were to look at like a graphic of their individual statistics, not just their win rates, I'm talking about like their ability to micro, macro, their overall strategies, their defensive fortitude and what have you. Flash would be like this massive circle that's pretty much close to maxed out across the entire board, where a lot of these other guys, you know, they've got weaknesses. There's certain things they just can't do that good, but they do excel in other areas. And that's one of the reasons why Flash has been such a highly respected gamer for a very long time. And usually when you've got a player that's that well-rounded, he doesn't necessarily have to do anything too special to win either. He can just focus on the weakness of his opponent and exploit that. So if you're a really good macro user, he's going to out-control you. If you're a really good micro user, he's going to out-macro you, and so on and so forth. And yeah, unfortunately, someone like Piano, he's going to have a lot of holes in his play. He's going to be a very strong old-school style Terran that's able to hang, but I don't see him getting out of this group. Whereas I do think Speed is going to be a little bit of a wild card here. I think that it is possible that some shenanigans could happen in this group and Flash might not be getting out of it 2-0. I definitely think that's a possibility. I think there's a low percentage chance that Flash even gets eliminated this group. I really don't want that to happen, but you can't, it's a non-zero chance is basically what I'm saying. It's not like Flash is guaranteed to get through to the round of 16 here, but let's bloody well hope so.
Man, I'm feeling a little emotional here just looking at Flash on the stage. It's been such a long time since he's been in the ASL. It was so many ups and downs since he left for the military. He had you know, all these surgeries. He had a lot of problems. He also had a crypto scandal. If you guys don't know about that, made a whole video about it on my channel. You can check it out. It was a crazy, crazy whirlwind while he was away on vacation or on break. I guess military duty, not exactly vacation, but he had to take a vacation kind of after the military duty because of all this stuff going on in his life. And to see him back on stage, it is amazing, man. And he looks healthy. He looks focused and ready to do what he needs to do. I mean, we could talk about how strong these other players are all we want. We can talk about, you know, how much they've grown and how much they've improved. But one thing is for sure, Flash has an aura about him, man. Like, I think other players, they honestly play just a little bit worse just because he's on the stage next to them. Because this guy has so much history behind him. He's got so much credibility in the scene, you know? He's got so much aura that other players are going to have a hard time going up against him. Just the sheer weight of the moment is going to be on top of them. Whereas Flash, I mean, he's been here a million times before. I'm sure he's a little nervous being back on stage after such a long time, but he's looking confident.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reality of it. You're absolutely spot on with that assessment, saying like when the players are actually in the booth against Flash, a lot of them are kind of shaking in their boots. You know, the atmosphere is almost so thick you could cut it with a knife. Like, these guys have so much star power in the StarCraft scene. It's one thing playing them online in the ladder or the, you know, the pro league or what have you, but when you're actually on stage with the guy, like, reality starts to set in. Like, oh my god, I'm against Flash right now. Like, it's not easy to overcome that psychological element. It's been the kryptonite of a lot of people. Sometimes they just can't perform under that level of pressure. That's what kind of makes ASL such a special event, because we actually get to see these guys perform in a completely different environment and not from the comfort of their own home. Taking another look here at the board of the players and their respective tiers, I really do feel like Rush and Flash are going to be successful getting through this group. Apparently on Flash's little card there, the king is back. Yeah, it certainly does feel that way. I'm going to probably refer to him as the God Emperor. I think that's a more fitting title for him. Not going to be an easy group, but yeah, historically speaking, Flash is an absolute beast in TVT. I really do feel like he's going to smash his way through this group, but we'll have to see. Anything can happen in that best of one format.
The king is back, and it's his manifest destiny to take home the ASL 21. But there's plenty of strong players who'd love to block his path. And what an honor it would be. What an insane privilege it would be to shut down Flash in an ASL, man. Like, the amount of credit you would get for that, the amount of props from everybody else in the ASL, all your all the other players in ASL would be insane. Of course, it would be a little bit rough for us as casters and fans of the sport to see Flash go out early, but these guys are going to be gunning for him. They really want to take out Flash and just get that that cred for themselves.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we saw on the previous cards as well. Speed, he's got a pretty good record against Terrans in ASL. I think it was 8 wins, 6 losses. I mean, that's pretty damn good considering how few games he's actually played. A lot of these guys struggle to maintain a 50+% win record in an event like this. Anything that's even close to 50% is actually very respectable in the ASL. Both players getting in the booth. Now, taking a look at some of their stats here, Rush, you can see very consistent across the board. Like, the fact that he's got this kind of percentage in all 3 matchups, you can tell just how solid of a gamer this guy is. Some of you might be like, it's only 50%. It's nothing crazy. ASL is totally different. Like, it's such a brutal tournament that even breaking even is a winning numerical advantage, or whatever you want to say. Like, if you've got 50% across the board, you can win an ASL. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. Piano here, Organ as on screen. He's got a pretty good record as well, but he's not been playing a lot of ASL, as you can see. He's only got 22 games, 7 wins, 15 losses. Doing pretty good in the versus Terran though. Very respectable, close to breaking even. Might be able to give some of these guys a run for their money. Might not necessarily make this easy for Rush, but certainly Rush going to be the favorite going forward.
Yeah, Piano for sure, the underdog here. Hard to pull one over the eyes of Rush in this matchup. Like, hard to get one over on Rush early on, unless you're gonna do something crazy like try to proxy racks or something like that. I don't know what he's got planned. I know that Piano is a smart guy. He might be able to find a way, but it's going to be a tough one. Like we saw Mind yesterday do pretty darn well. Even though he was the underdog, but this is, I think, even more of an underdog story than Mind versus Royal.
Yeah, just a little bit. I definitely feel like Rush is a strong favorite. This might be the most one-sided match of the evening. We'll have to wait and see, unless Flash somehow loses and plays against Piano in the losers match, and I think that might be even slightly more one-sided than Rush here. But yeah, I think Piano definitely the weakest of this group. Don't have high hopes for him breaking out, but I just hope he performs well. I don't think this guy is going to win, but I'm hoping he can show us some good games, guys. We're getting into it now. The ASL round of 24, Group E, Match 1, Rush versus Piano on Octagon. Settle down, settle in, and let's get it started.
All right, Rush spawning here in the bottom right. We got Oregon in top left. Flash's group has begun, guys. This ASL will always have the return of Flash as part of the title. You know what I mean? This is this is how this one will be remembered, I'm sure. So now we're kicking off his group. It's an exciting time to be a Brood War fan. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Everybody liking the video on YouTube and joining in on the live stream here on Soup Live. Just want to shout out the Patreon supporters as well. If you guys are interested in helping us to continue doing what we're doing, supporting us in casting the ASL, the KCM, and others, 2v2 and all that good stuff, head over to Saiyan Duocast over on Patreon. And if you don't like Patreon, there are some other links on that Patreon page that will lead you to where you can also try to support us. So thanks again. Thanks to everybody who's supported us so far and everyone who's supporting us in the future. Thanks in advance.
Yeah, absolutely. Big shout out to all you guys that do help us continue to do what we love to be able to do for you guys. There will be a link down in the description and in the comments, I believe, if you are watching on YouTube. Thank you so much. We really do love and appreciate all of you guys. Going into this match, let's see. Doesn't look like there's going to be any bunker expands here. Just both players taking the gas. A very normal timing of 12. Nothing unorthodox. Both players building their barracks inside their main base on the periphery to scout a little bit faster, but not getting too eager either. And this might be a pretty interesting match. With the fact that it's cross spawns as well, tends to kind of slow down the pace a little bit initially, take away some of the possible timings, but it also does make it harder to split the map in half. So you don't always tend to get like a split map position when you're cross spawns. It just kind of slows down the early game a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that this map would become split way easier than any of the other maps we've had in quite a long time because of all the buildable terrain in the middle. You know, there should be it should be pretty easy to set up, you know, a bunch of turrets and tanks in the center of the map and start to split things in half. But actually, it's been following the normal trend that we've seen in TVT, where the games seem to be getting quicker and quicker.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. Oh, Piano. Did he? Okay. He sent out 2 SCVs here to go and scout around, and I thought he like turned that SCV and was gonna go check the top right again, but he's actually sent this to a really interesting spot. Is he gonna build a starport over here?
Maybe, yeah, I think so.
This is kind of cool.
Oh, a factory. He's gonna
wow,
float
a factory.
Getting spicy already. Yeah, like there's no need to send out 2 SCVs to scout if you intend to make 2 Marines, which he has. So yeah, definitely he had the strategy of proxying something. Could have been a starport to put on some, you know, high pressure with the Wraiths right at the get-go, but actually not. Actually just going to be floating that factory into that very corner of Rush's base. If Rush doesn't sniff this out, man, this could do a crazy amount of damage. This is gonna get wild very quickly here.
Awesome. I thought that we would see Organ pull out something sneaky. He needs to get some early damage because Rush is definitely the favorite. Slipping by into the main here, Rush gonna see everything, and you might be a little bit confused as to, you know, what's being made behind this. If you don't have a CC in the front and you've only got 1 factory, then there must be something else going on. Rush has not scouted the interior of his base yet, but he's looking for something on the map. He's thinking, you know, maybe a proxy starport, something like that. Like, what are you up to right now? But he is completely in the dark about this factory that just landed in his main, and he's probably going to end up taking a lot of damage here.
Oh, if this vulture finds that SCV, he doesn't quite see it, and he hasn't got vision of this corner. That's wild, man. He definitely knows something's going on, but, you know, it could have just been a hidden factory in the main and like a 2 factory build here from Piano. He doesn't know exactly what's going on. It could also just be a proxy starport into either a Wraith or a dropship, but he will get very suspicious. The fact that there's nothing coming his way. The floating barracks doesn't see units moving out just yet. Piano is gonna maybe... Oh, he's gonna let this vulture get in maybe. Okay, the tank is on the high ground to block that. That's really good timing from Piano having that. And here comes the 2 vultures now, laying down mines on the factory. Yeah, there is the tank popping out. It does eat the mine connection right away, now starting to ravage the SCV line of Rush. Nice little early game gambit here from Piano to try and put himself into an advantageous position going forward. Rush does have an expansion behind this, so Piano needs to get a lot of damage done with this to make it worthwhile. Does he get another connection? Yes, he does. Both tanks now on low HP. One of them being repaired up, though. This is respectable damage, but not necessarily enough to put him really far ahead with that expansion of Rush. But Piano's also moving out across the map to put some pressure on the front door while this is being cleaned up.
Oh my gosh, he's actually done quite a bit. For Rush's part, he didn't lose a single tank yet. He's just lost some SCVs. Lost some mining time. Organ is coming straight over your Piano. He's gonna float over the bunker here and prevent the repair. This is super smart stuff from Organ. Gonna start to siege up, but you know what? Wraith here is actually fantastic. Oh my god, he's gonna lose this tank immediately. That's really rough as well. You can't repair this bunker. Oh my god, one more shot. Does get it right before that Wraith goes down. Gonna siege up on the other side of the wall. He should be able to clear everything up. Organ still in the main base, still doing damage. I'm not entirely sure. I hear a vulture actually attacking. No, it's the vulture hitting this factory. It seems like Rush is starting to stabilize here. He's starting to get everything together. But 2-port Wraith being built right on the outside of the base here. This is insane for Morgan. He's not stopping.
Yeah, he's not slowing down. He's going all in with a 2-port Wraith build to follow this up. Oh, mind connections on that tank do finish it off. What a wild game one to start the group off. You guys thought this was going to be a slow and boring TVT group. Well, Organ Piano proving that wrong right off the bat. Rush has done a good job of shutting down some of the aggression, but now more mines being laid. Beautiful target firing there from Rush to clear out those mines and stop any further detonations, but Organ has broken the natural expansion here from Rush. Tank also eating a mine on that ramp as well, but this is being pretty successful. There is a Wraith production from both sides, but I'm not sure Rush anticipates a 2-port Wraith follow-up. He probably expects some Wraiths to be made, like a 1-1-1 all-in style, but he might not anticipate the complete Wraith switch. It might overwhelm him. He hasn't got an armory, so it's not going to be viable for him to hold this off with Goliaths. He has to utilize Marines and Wraiths alone for the time being, and I think that Piano might be successful in crushing him in the sky once he gets like 3 Wraiths or so, maybe even 4. I think that Rush could still be in a lot of trouble here.
He absolutely could be. Look at this. He's flying up. He's actually going to find this. Is it going to be in time? He sees it right as the 3rd Wraith pops out. That's actually the worst possible moment. The Wraith dives on this immediately, and 3 Wraiths easily wreck 2 Wraiths in the air. So, massive moment here for Oregon, as now going to dive into the main base. So many SCVs are already badly injured. There's a 4th Wraith. Oh my god, he's dead.
Well,
he's dead.
He's building an armory, but I'm not sure it matters. Once he starts killing the SCVs building the armory, I think it's over. I don't think there's enough time for him to get that armory online before losing an absolute crippling amount of SCVs. He's building a backup engineering bay, the natural, but it's not gonna matter. Piano has done it. He's beaten Rush in game number 1, clenching his fists in victory. The caster, the old school player from times old, has beaten one of the best Terrans on the planet and is joining us in the winners match. Wow, what a crazy upset.
That was the cheesiest, filthiest, down and dirtiest TVT I've ever seen in my life, and the Piano absolutely killed it with that build. The factory float into the main. He made an armory into a Goliath with a tank push and then went 2-port Wraith. That is insanity. Absolute insanity. It absolutely should not work, but he pulled it together and made it happen. He's going to go and give his buddy a high five there at the back. That is amazing. Piano is a legend for pulling that off.
Yeah, man. I'm so happy for it. That was crazy. I can't even imagine what Rush is thinking or feeling at this point. Like, damn, a caster just dusted off his pro gamer card and slapped me down in the ASL. What is even happening right now? Well, don't go anywhere, guys. We're going to go into a little bit of a commercial break. Run to the bathroom, grab some water, grab some fruit. We'll be joining you next for the man himself, the God Emperor Flash, going up against Speed in match number 2. Don't go anywhere.
All right, a big upset there with Piano able to take out Rush. What a crazy build. Absolute insane cheese from him. Uh, Definitely what he needed to do to get some momentum in this group and carrying himself into the final match. We'll see who's going to meet him there. Is it going to be Flash or Speed? That's the match we have coming up next. Flash doesn't need any introduction. We all know who he is. Grew up watching him play versus Jaedong and Bisu back in the day. There's some amazing, amazing memories of watching, GOM TV and stuff. I had the first generation iPod Touch. I tell this story all the time. I had a first generation iPod Touch, and I used to watch GOM TV in the middle of the night when my parents didn't know that I was still awake. When I
Nice.
was like, 14, 13 years old. It was amazing. Oh, great memories, and I've been loving Brood War ever since. And I mean, when I was that age, Flash was winning ASL championship, or he not ASL, sorry, StarCraft championship. So
Mm.
this guy's been around forever. He was one of the youngest gamers of all time, one of the youngest champions of all time. Really, the GOAT in so many different aspects. And having him here facing off against Speed today is just amazing. Cannot wait to see how this one goes.
Yeah, no, I can echo those sentiments. Saying, I remember when Flash first came into the scene. I'll give you guys a quick little story. Basically, when he showed up to the Pro Gamer House, KT Magicians, he was just a kid. I think he was like 14, turning 15 at the time. And it's customary to play everyone in the Pro Gamer House in a best of 3 to kind of see where you fit in terms of like the rankings and what have you, and everyone can get familiar with you as a gamer. He pretty much 2-0'd everyone in the Pro Gamer House, and the team captain Nara had to play against him last, and Nara was sweating bullets at the time. He actually went 1-2 against Flash. He was the only guy in the house that won a single game against Flash. That's mad that your first show up on the scene is 2-0ing pretty much everyone in the Pro Gamer House besides the team captain. Right from the get-go. And then his first debuted matches, I remember he was playing against Bisu, especially that game on Monty Hall where he built the gas so that he could convert the minerals into gas to mine out the wall quicker to overwhelm Bisu with a quick marine rush. Like, he was basically showing us lightning in a bottle from the very start of his career. And look at that record, man. That's scary. Just no one else has ever been able to get that high of percentages across the board. Oh my days, like close to being 80% across all 3 matchups. It's just, it's inhuman. Like this guy is quite literally the God Emperor himself.
Yeah, a lot of the times you'll see a player who's like a real specialist in one matchup who has a 75% win rate. Like look at, we got Speed here. He doesn't have a lot of games, but he's got a 75 win rate. That's super respectable. Like, this is an incredible win rate. But when you have a versus all win rate of 75, like, you've ascended. You are at the next tier. You're at the next level. Um, you're no longer a mere mortal. You are a god, and that's what we see from Flash. Speed here, again, his moniker used to be 10-minute Flash. He's come a long way. You can see he's a little bit stressed out here going into this match, and that's what I was talking about earlier. That aura is starting to kick in here. I'm about to play Flash right now. Speed saying in his head, like, this is a big moment in my career. Maybe one of the bigger moments in my entire Brood War career is playing up against this guy here in ASL 21.
Yeah, and this might be his only chance ever to play against Flash. Like, this is it. This is your one chance to be a God Slayer. You better damn well lock in and play the best game you can possible. Also might get his nerves twitching. We'll see. Jumping in now to the second match. Group E, Flash versus Speed on Octagon. Let's get it, guys.
Here he is, Flash spawning top left, vertical spawn Speed in the bottom left. And I think we're going to have a really great game here. I don't think we're going to see anybody go for any crazy cheese like we saw with the Piano. But I think Speed's going to try to stand toe-to-toe with Flash and potentially take him to a long game. His TVT is sick, absolutely sick, and he is such a fast player. His name definitely represents his play style. Look at that, 570 APM, just out of this world. But Flash, I mean, super respectable as well. 480 APM, men, with a broken wrist. I mean, not broken, but you know, so many different surgeries on his wrist. He's had so much pain. This dude is still going balls to the wall, all out, and still spamming in the early game. Like, he's like 20 years old again or something like that, you know?
Yeah, I hope his arm can stay attached for the entirety of this tournament. He's going to need it. But yeah, historically, Flash was a pretty damn quick as well. Able to task switch faster than pretty much anyone else. Not necessarily some of the guys in the crowd. I'm struggling to keep it together here. This is such a special moment to have the god back. And seeing all the fans losing their minds in the crowd as well is a real special treat. Please, Flash, make it out of this group so we can see more craziness in the future. Is he doing a CC first? No, he's not. Okay, for a second now, I thought he was considering doing a CC first build. It's just a very slow barracks in the natural. He built that way later than Speed did. This is a very unusual style here from Flash. Like, he was maybe contemplating slow playing a little bit. He probably will be doing a bunker expansion type style and just built the barracks even later than usual to be extra greedy.
Well known for his greed, and well known for that CC first you were talking about as well. Don't blame you for thinking that he might be going for something like that, because he is the guy who made it popular. He CC first so many times in the old days, in the Kespa era, and just kept working on it. He just kept doing it, even though everybody was like, what is this guy thinking? Why does he keep CC first, playing CC first, you know? Like, this just doesn't work. You can't pull it off, and you're just going to get punished. And then he eventually figured it out, and then it just became a build.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, we see CC first all the time. It's not super popular, but it's like a pretty acceptable build to go for in a lot of different matchups. It can give you a massive advantage in TVP and TVZ if you can get away with it. And in a lot of these tournament games, you actually can, because players are, for the most part, heavily macro-centric. And, you know, they're not going to be going for things like, you know, early pool or something to actually punish that. But here, just going for the bunker expansion. This has also become a staple of Flash's play. Bunker expansion is bread and butter, and we're going to see it here today.
Yeah, and it's a really strong style. We see it from a lot of other Terrans as well. What was so funny back in the day was like Flash basically got away with doing CC first for the better part of like an entire year before players not only caught on but found ways of trying to punish it. What was so hilarious was that even the players that metagamed him and tried to punish it, he would still sometimes defend. Like, I remember like games on Sylphid where they're like rushing a proxy gateway with Zealots, and Flash is still defending it with like body blocks using SCVs and squeezing out Marine. It was just insanity watching this guy defend cheeses with a CC first, but he can do it all. Scout does get shut down by Speed there, but now both players pretty sure of their opponent's position, so they can, you know, chug along with their respective builds. And it seems like Flash going to be making 2 factories as a quick follow-up after throwing down that bunker expand. Very typical from him. Speed got a pretty reasonably timed CC of his own after throwing down that first factory. There's something building in Speed's main. You can assume that that's a second factory, but who knows? It could have been a starport, but I think it's a second factory. It makes sense.
Third factory coming down from Flash. We've seen this quite a bit in TVTs this season. 3 factory right off the bat. Going to be foregoing that armory by just a little bit. Speed. We haven't seen a third factory from him just yet. I might want to go for a quicker armory. He has map control. Like, you might think, oh, he's just way behind right now because Flash got the faster CC out. And yeah, there's a slight advantage when it comes to macro, but map control goes totally to Speed, and that's not nothing in TVT. That's actually a really big deal.
No, yeah,
Ooh,
absolutely.
a fourth factory?
Yeah, he's doubling down. And the barracks is turning around. He might actually spot this as well. This is huge for Speed if he identifies this fourth factory. Yeah, he does see it. That's really big for Speed. He was kind of like anticipating Flash trying to go for something like this. Now he's got the intel. Now he will know what's going to be coming. It's going to be a very heavy doubling down into that Vulture War style to kick things off for Flash. We got some mines for map control here from Speed, but he's going to have to evacuate the front lines. There's no way he can keep up with the production of Flash, so he sacrifices that high ground advantage and will probably have to plug up his natural with a depot or bunker and what have you. Okay, he has got a depot there. That's going to help out a lot with the initial trades and does actually have a slight numerical advantage to kick things off. Flash losing a Vulture there before pulling back. Flash actually kind of running before he can walk in this game. He's trying to dip his toes into the waters maybe before he was completely ready. Could have waited a few seconds extra before trying to pounce onto those Vultures, especially as his Speed was just finishing up. Now we've got a tank in the wall for Speed. This is really going to combat the style of Flash effectively. And since Flash hasn't got any mine upgrade for a while, he's gone Speed first. It'll be a while before he can easily punish this tank. And Speed also doubling down on his defenses, going to make an additional supply depot in that wall.
Really good target fire from Speed there, and he had the right number of Vultures to get the 2-shot as well. So he was able to gun down, what was that, 3 Vultures at the cost of 1. This is an excellent start for Speed, and now that he's got this wall and a couple of tanks, this play is not going to work out so good for Flash. He's got a bit of a supply advantage right now, but no tanks have been built by Flash, and this is little run by is super annoying. He's actually going to get multiple SCV kills in the main as well, unless Vultures pop out like right now, but looks like they're just going to be coming back home. 2 SCVs go down. A third SCV is likely to fall. Yeah, he gets 3 SCVs, delays the armory as well. This is sick from Speed, and although he's behind in supply, his supply is better supply, right? He's got tanks, and basically all Flash has is Vultures, and they're very supply heavy.
Yeah, I mean, Speed is far better in TVT, at least in the ASL, than the other 2 matchups, so he's going to really give Flash a run for his money here, I feel. Some Vultures already out on the map again from Speed. Flash might think he's safe. He's got Vultures covering this southern lane, but there's already 3 Vultures out on the map. Speed could run around the entire map and catch Flash off guard yet again while he's trying to consolidate his forces to the front lines. CC on the way as well for Speed, eyeing up an expansion soon. He's got quite a few tanks, but there are mines, and they do find connections too. Tanks completely explode. This is huge for Flash. That really does cripple the early game punching power of Speed, and Flash body blocking the Vultures from getting up and getting a run by going. Really well played from Flash overall. He just laid down a few too many mines that Speed didn't account for. He thought there would, maybe be a few mines that would pop up, but not necessarily like 5 all at once. Just too many to gun down. And suddenly he's in a lot of trouble. Flash is making his way downtown with some tanks to get onto this high ground as well.
I am just shocked that he managed to lose 2 tanks there. He had 3 Goliaths with that army, and I think they were just firing on the barracks as the mines popped up. They were a little bit out of range as well, and now he's going to try to push up here. He has to take this high ground. Like, he cannot allow Flash to have this. If he allows Flash to take this, like, he might as well tap out of this game. He's in so much trouble. Dude, Flash is just going to push right up onto this high ground. None of the tanks of Flash have been killed. He's going to siege up here. No, he keeps pushing. Oh my gosh. This is really aggressive right now. He's just going to set up right in front of Speed's natural, and it's working as well. This is shocking.
Yeah, I'm sure Speed is a little bit shocked as well with the tenacity of the God Emperor himself, just running it down, taking away all the possible tactical advantage that Speed could have found himself. Now he can't even expand. He's got a lot of factories. He has got the production to catch up in this game, but the reality is he's been contained now. This is likely going to escalate a little bit out of control for Speed going forward. Flash is going to not let him take this expansion for quite a bit of time. The CC's floating over, but Speed has to gain a lot of ground to actually open up the lane. to be able to transfer SCVs and what have you. He's looking like he's maybe going to try and surge forward here in just a second and catch some of these tanks on the south side of that line. But this is a really tough contain to break without maybe pulling some SCVs to soak up shots and what have you. I don't see Speed breaking out of this anytime soon.
Yeah, it's just such a difficult spot to break out of. And if Flash ever feels like he might get broken, he can retreat to the high ground and just siege up on the high ground here. And that's just as good of a position. Like, it's nice to be a little bit closer. You can potentially cut off this attack to the north, this pathway to the north. But look at this. Mine's getting laid down right on top of everything. Can he actually get the connection? Huge tank connection there. Actually starting to pull things into his favor. Can he break this high ground, though? He absolutely has to do so now. He's starting to fall further and further behind in supply. And Flash is getting that third base online. That third gas is coming up here soon.
Yeah, I mean, Speed does have his CC already finished up, but this is just a mineral only expansion. He's trying to secure, pushing forward with the tanks. Did a great job of picking off some of the tanks of Flash with those mines. Flash getting some good trades regardless, though, thinning out the overall tank count that Speed can muster. And even though Speed has finally gotten that CC planted and has opened up the lane a little bit there for his SCVs to make their way over to start mining, Flash is getting his gas expansion on as well, so that's definitely an advantage to Flash. Speed trying to run it down with some mines and vultures yet again. One of the tanks getting picked off by Flash with some good target fire, and the mines are about to connect. Doesn't actually get it. Good target firing from Flash, stopping those mines from finding their connections. Now going for a bit of a counterplay, trying to pounce on top of that tank of Speed and keep him locked into his base. He might be mining at that mineral only, but he's not out of the woods yet. Flash shoving it forward with his tanks now, trying to get a lockdown off that rally point yet again. Wrap around with those SCVs from the mineral only from Speed, desperate to stop Flash gaining ground and cutting off that lane to the third base, but it's not enough. Flash is hanging on to this position.
Yeah, and I mean, he hasn't broken out here for long enough now where Flash is feeling confident to push back down onto the low ground and really start to choke off the supply of Speed and any potential of actually getting another base online. Speed is trying to run around with a few vultures, and that's absolutely what he should be doing. Any little lane that he can start to exploit, come out onto the map and do something with is for sure something that he should be working with. And he's actually going to try to kill a few SCVs at the top center, but Flash immediately reacts to that. Dude, I don't see how Speed can break out of this now. This is so many tanks at the front, and now there's Wraiths as well. One Goliath here is not quite going to cut it, and Speed is just moments away from a tap out, I feel.
Yeah, this doesn't look good. He has got some more vultures, though, making the way to that top center base. And I think he's just now got a threshold to overwhelm Flash's vultures that are in position there. 6 to 5, and I think some of those Flash's vultures have been softened up already. Maybe he can get some damage done there or distract him just a little bit. More vultures also on the left-hand lane from Speed, maybe looking for some counter damage, setting up mines to catch the rally point reinforcements for Flash, trying to find any kind of tactical advantage going forward, and maybe cripple the economy of Flash a little bit in the back line since he's so easily contained right now. He can't even mine on that third base, doing some pretty good damage to the natural Flash. Flash also responding pretty well and shutting that down, though he is taking some losses at that third base at the 12 o'clock, and that's also where his science facility was being made, which has been slowed down. That's going to delay the +2 upgrade of Flash as well, but this is not enough damage for Speed. This is not good enough compensation. But while Flash was distracted, he's been mustering a force to try and break out of this contain from Flash. SEVs coming off the line as well. There's a few Wraiths to help pepper in some DPS and provide better vision for those tanks to shoot at max range. Some of the tanks going down from Flash, but not quite enough. Speed still unsuccessful from breaking out of the absolute triangle hold that Flash is getting around his neck right now.
I think that was potentially the last breakout. That was a lot of stuff, and he's been pulling SCVs for each and every one of these breakouts, and it's just not been going his way, man. He just cannot get this high ground back from Flash, and that's just step number one to a comeback here for Speed, is getting control of this high ground, and he's already lost so much trying to make it happen. that even if he does take it over now, I think his position is going to deteriorate even further. Flash is holding his ground and rallying all the tanks directly up here, and that's it. He just can't break out of this, man. He cannot get out from this spot, and Flash, he's mining on that third. He's been mining on that third for a long time. His supply is ahead. Another run by, gonna try to wrap around for Speed. He's desperately trying to get this third base online. He's so close to actually mining from that. And he is going to hit this base up at 12 o'clock. And he is potentially going to get some damage there. But, you know, the writing is on the wall here. How much can this actually do? And it's not going to... even if it kills SCVs, it's not going to break him out of this chokehold over at his natural.
No, and the reality is in TVT, there's actually not much defender's advantage compared to the other two matchups that Terrans have. So, yeah, it doesn't really matter that Speed is dealing with Flash at his front door. If anything, it actually benefits Flash with the tank line. So it's really tough for him, especially with this high ground ridge that he's contesting with. And there's more and more Wraiths that have been stockpiled as well. 5 Wraiths in the sky now. Speed so desperate at breaking this contain, laying down mines on top of those tanks. He could maybe break out here. He's doing some pretty good connections with those mines. There's not that many Wraiths left for Flash. I think with another round of units, he will actually break this contain, but it might be too little too late. Flash didn't lose that many SCVs. He's been chugging away on 3 bases. He has extra gas that Speed doesn't with that 12 o'clock expansion. So despite Speed gaining some ground right now, he might still lose the war of attrition, and it's not over yet. Flash has managed to get a foothold back on that high ground.
I think what you meant by not having defender's advantage, I think you meant that the units popping out being there a little bit faster than the units coming from your opponent's base, not mattering as much as the position here from Flash. Exactly, and you are absolutely right that this tank line, even though it's very far from Flash's base, the position is just so hard to crack. I love that Speed's getting around behind this and throwing down some mines. Potentially, he could catch a few reinforcements with those mines, and then that might give him a little bit of breathing room to actually get back up here on the high ground, but he's losing so much, and his supply is dropping precipitously. Flash continuing to send in reinforcements. It looks like he might be connecting with a few of those mines back there in the supply train, but Flash is just rallying forward so many vultures. He's already got enough tanks here to hold. He's bringing forward more Wraiths as well, and Speed is running out of gas. He's no longer sending little counterattacks around the map to try and hit these bases. Flash has put down enough units at those locations to prevent those counterattacks from happening. And now Flash bringing up even more forces. Looks like Speed's got a slight advantage in terms of upgrades. Speed has +1, but that's not a break point that's going to allow him to break through this. If he hasn't broken through it yet, it's going to become harder and harder.
Yeah, he does have 1-1 to Flash's 0-0. Flash will be finishing up his +1 and researching +2 soon, but it doesn't really matter. Yeah, 1-1 upgrades not really gonna be a good enough break point in most of these trades. There'll be a few interactions that happen where those upgrades are a little bit valuable, especially as far as like what vultures and Goliaths can do and what have you, but not so much in the overall tank trading. And right now, Flash is forcing evacuation on that third base of Speed. He's trying to get 6 o'clocker up as well. A big move out from Speed, trying to wrap around the left-hand lane and see if he can put some pressure onto Flash, doing some good damage, taking out a few tanks here. He's trying to stretch Flash thin. He knows he's not going to be successful at breaking out of this contain anytime soon, but maybe he can take the fight to Flash. He's getting mined out. He's literally broke, saying he's got hardly anything coming in. SCVs at the 6 o'clock are going to be the only mining that Speed has, and he can't even get a transfer over there without trading off SCVs. Desperate to break this tank line, especially on the south side here below the ridge. He needs to at least get rid of these 3 tanks so we can get some SCVs mining at the 6 o'clock, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. It looks like this is gonna be a Flash victory, a valiant effort here from Speed, but the God Emperor himself is just proving too much to handle. Here comes the GG, and Flash is going to be joining us in that winners match with an absolute stellar performance.
Oh yeah, this was pretty well perfect. I mean, there was a big mistake from Speed I thought we were actually going to have a really even and close game, but the moment that mind connection happened at
Mm.
the natural, Flash just turned it on. He turned up the heat, immediately attacked across the map, and never let go of that high ground speed. He made some good moves with the vultures. I kind of respect that final attack as well. Like, he knew that he was pretty much cooked. He was in a really bad position, and he decided, you know what? I'm just going to completely give up on defense. Hopefully, Flash stays on the high ground and doesn't push the third base. The mineral only there, and I can, go around him and suddenly arrive at his natural. But Flash is on top of everything. But he's constantly checking with the wraiths. He just comes forward. He sees that the army's missing. He immediately pushes forward, puts pressure on the third base, and goes to counter the move from speed and just shuts everything down perfectly. I mean, what can you say, dude? Flash is just absolutely insane. He's so damn good. And I am extremely excited that we're going to be having him versus Oregon here. And he's got a very good chance of getting out first now. Guys, we're going to go to commercial break. When we get back, Flashes versus Oregon in the winners match.
Hello guys, welcome back to the ASL Group E Flashes group. He's through to the winners match. Going to be facing off against Piano here. We did not necessarily expect Piano to be in this position. We thought maybe Rush was just going to absolutely crush him, but he had such a fantastic cheese in game number 1 with that Proxy Factory float into the main base, and then following that up with a 2-port Wraith. Just absolute craziness. And can you imagine he's now against Flash? Like, I don't know what's going through this guy's mind. He's going to have to stay cool, calm, and collected going forward. How sick would it be if he could get a win over Flash here? It's going to be Jane Doe as well. Oh my gosh, you can do a lot of shenanigans on this map. I wonder if Piano going to get a little bit cheesy here yet again. Definitely could happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's gonna have to. But I've got even more to say about the potential for these crazy plays. And historically, Flash has been really, really good at deciphering cheese.
Yeah.
He's one of the smartest players out there, if not the smartest player out there for Brood War. He understands the game on such a deep level. But guys, we're getting right into this one. The Group E winners, round of 24, 2026. Let's get it started. All right, Flash over here, center right. We've got Organ center left. And Xun, do you remember when Shine had that amazing run in the ASL and he was just bopping all kinds of players left and right?
Yeah, quite well.
And beating people that he really shouldn't have been able to. But he had so many interesting and cool builds, and we thought, you know what, this guy's so creative, he's so amazing, and you know he was winning in such a kind of a crazy way. And then he had that finals versus Flash and got absolutely smashed. And everyone was like, oh yeah, he's gonna be able to find a way, you know, he's gonna try all this different cheese. He tried everything. He threw absolutely everything at the wall,
sink.
And literally nothing worked. Because Flash is just that good at figuring out what you're up to and shutting it down.
Yeah, no, seriously, this guy is about as cerebral as it gets, and it's almost like he sees the Matrix. Like, you can say, like, someone like Snow, like, sees partial glimpses of the Matrix with his Reaver control. Like, he's got a deep read on the game when it comes to utilizing that unit, but Flash seems to be across the board that kind of player where he just reads into things that other players don't. Even if he's not executing at the highest of levels in the past, when he was kind of, you know, not really trying to compete in recent times, people still would go to him for advice, especially in like those last couple of ASLs. A lot of the Terran players were talking to Flash for advice about what they should do and or shouldn't do, and why they should do it. He just understands the game, and he's the kind of guy that has played against hackers on the ladder and has still like put up really good games against them despite them being able to unfairly make stupid amounts of units. And look at this, we got a bit of a cheesy greed from both sides, just going for a CC first in the back pocket here. It's actually a pretty safe way of playing CC first though on Jane Doe. It's not really that greedy considering the map.
Very hard to punish. Very, very hard to punish on this map. Yeah, so both players going for it. We'll have to see what the plan is from here. Oregon after the fact. I doubt he's just going to play completely straight up. Are we going to see like multiple ports of Wraiths or something like that to follow this? Is he going to be going for just... I can't imagine him doing like a push. Maybe some sort of crazy drop. Really curious to see what he's going to be doing, but Flash is the type of guy, he goes into the main base, he sees what you've got, and he's like, oh, you're missing a drone, or you're missing an SCV, and he just knows immediately, you know, at any point in the game, because he's just that dialed in, he's that good at the game, and he's got that deep of knowledge as well of every race. That's the reason why he was able to, you know, play random and go so deep in the ASL in previous seasons. So, yeah, his knowledge is not to be underestimated. And Oregon hasn't shown us his trick just yet, but you know that Flash will be looking to sniff that out as soon as it comes.
Yeah,
time.
seems like Flash's build is ever so slightly better optimized than Piano here. Teeny bit ahead of the SCV production, and factory started a few seconds quicker. Nothing too crazy, but just a sign that Flash is on top of things optimization wise. He's actually going to throw down a second factory really early here. Piano yet to decide what his next tech building is going to be. Let's see if he throws down a second factory. Looks like he is going to do that. Could have been a starport as well though. But yeah, just doubling down on what you were saying and steelmanning you a bit. Like, Flash was the guy that basically figured out mineral optimizations before everyone else did. And we got a proxy starport here from Flash at the 6 o'clock. This is going to get interesting. And it was a second factory here from Piano. So Flash already getting a little bit creative with some early game aggression. But yeah, just going back to what I was saying about the mineral optimization, basically, like, Flash figured out like things like the return cargo trick when you're like mining that top mineral patch on the right hand side. And a lot of players were confused. They were like watching him play, wondering like, why is he smashing his keyboard at the start? Like going every, you know, when he's like doing his mining. No one really understood it. And eventually they figured out, oh, he's actually mineral boosting. And like, it wasn't really a thing back then. Some of the Zerg players figured out a few things when it comes to mineral optimizations and what have you, because you kind of have to with Zerg. So there were some Zerg geniuses that figured it out, but Flash was the guy that basically paved the way for all of those optimizations we see from pretty much every pro gamer now, and even you guys on the ladder.
Absolutely. I mean, we were talking earlier about how he's got so many different skills maxed out, but the creative aspect of Brood War is a skill unto itself, and he's absolutely got that skill maxed out as well. He's the guy that everybody looks to when a new map comes out for ideas about how to actually play. He's the one who's going to be figuring out first, you know, what is the absolute optimal way to play each and every map. And this game is going to be studied by a lot of different Terran players out there because this is such a TVT heavy or Terran heavy season of ASL. Every move that Flash is making today is going to be studied in depth by a lot of these Terran players and copied by so many others. Drop is going to be coming into the main base here already. Organ is out of position. Piano out of position here with the 4 factories being thrown down right now. He's not going to be able to get there in time. Vultures may be running into the natural at the same time. This reminds me of a TVP build, but it might work just as well, if not better.
Yeah, and really well timed, by the way. That dropship was coming into the main dead on 6 minutes. That's about as early as it gets. The CC first helping out a little bit, but very impressive timings from Flash. He's got this mapped out to perfection. He's going to poke the front door and see if he can lay down some mines on this tank that's blocking. It does get the connection. That tank could now go down as long as there's no mischances. And really well done here from Flash. And a continuation back in the main base as well for round 2 with those vultures in the back line, laying down some mines and harassing more and more of the economy of Piano. This is starting to escalate a little bit out of control. There's a few Goliaths to help play defense and stop too many losses from occurring, but he has taken a pretty sizable amount of damage. Flash now with an almost 10 supply lead.
Yeah, that was pretty sick. I mean, the drop initially, the pickup directly after, then immediately redropping into the main while the vultures are poking. This is fantastic stuff. He's going to drop here again. Can he actually get the kill on that Goliath? I don't think so. Looking for just one more SCV, maybe 2 more SCVs if he could get it. Looks like he'll only get the extra one. A little bit sad to lose that dropship, but Flash has done the work that he wanted to do with that, and letting it go now can just focus on other aspects of his game, getting this 3rd base out, etc. And that's indeed what he's going to be doing here, adding on those extra factories and taking control of his high ground. Again, similar to Octagon here on Jane Doe, these high grounds are going to be super important. If you ever let your opponent take over your own ridge line, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Ooh. So watch for both players defending their high ground.
I like this idea from Piano. He's going to try and wrap around to the high ground expansion here to the north. Flash responding to that well, though. He's going to try and shut that down with some tanks on the low ground. It's a really nice idea from Piano, but it seems like Flash has got his number about that. And we'll be getting his expansion on a little bit earlier than Piano's. Both players, though, will be getting that 3rd base online. Technically, there was a moment of tempo advantage for Piano, but with defender's advantage, it actually helped out Flash a little bit here. The one thing going for Piano is this high ground that's actually going to help him trade off a little bit better than usual. So nice tactics from Piano, definitely understands the game as a caster very well. But seems like Flash is doing everything right, regardless of the special tactics coming out from Piano here. And Flash, with that dropship harassed, basically is ahead in most regards now, with those 5 factories coming online.
Oh, wow. He landed the starport and made another add-on. He's actually going to make another drop, it looks like. Maybe go for some extra damage. Since, you know, Oregon might find that control tower and assume that the starport is now just floating, maybe he can get away with going for a follow-on drop that actually gets a lot of damage. Oregon might not be prepared back at home, having most of his stuff actually at the front lines. Flash going to take this moment to actually break the high ground here. Oregon was not ready with enough tanks to actually defend that. Ooh, going around this bottom side is pretty interesting. Look at that. He finds the starport here, and he kills the Wraith as well. But what's that army doing way down there? I mean, it's not really getting too much done aside from spotting this starport. He's actually going to kill that?
Interesting.
Okay, is he going around all the way to the back?
Maybe.
Is that the plan, to kill the, what's it called, the stasis cell, and then get into the natural of Flash?
Maybe. It's certainly viable here, and it would spread Flash a little thin. Like, he's got to cover like 3 avenues if he wants to cover down here as well. Flash, though, does respond in kind, bringing up some tanks to shut down that possible gambit from Piano. And will also secure that lane down if he wants to take a quick 4th base here. Flash throwing down a lot of factories, powering up into 7, which is very expected on 3 bases worth of economy. Now Flash getting aggressive himself, trying to catch these units out of position while they're in transit back to the center. He's going to probably easily mop up these tanks without really losing hardly anything here. This is a nice play from Flash, seizing the tempo away from Piano, now surging forward to that high ground expansion location. Luckily for Piano, he has got a few tanks already set up there. Flash rotating around to that center ridge line to see if he can punish that instead. And due to the movement of Piano's army, he wasn't fully set up there. So Flash getting some really good trades still.
Yeah, Piano has to keep this alive. Like I was saying, this is of the utmost importance. If he lets this go, we're going to be in a similar situation with Speed versus Flash, where you're just throwing units up at that ramp over and over and over again, and losing way more than you actually kill, and eventually just kind of getting choked out of the game. And look at this, Flash, his reinforcements have arrived. He immediately seizes that high ground. You can see Oregon faltering a little bit in his overall macro here. But Flash is just hammering out units, keeping his money very, very low, and just overwhelming Oregon with pure macro. Now set up right in front of the natural, and you can see what a problem this is. Like, Flash, I mean, he could just sit back and hold that high ground, but he's actually going to push even further forward. He's not done here. He's going to try to push the advantage, and he should be able to actually shut down the CC as well.
That'd be pretty huge if he can deny that CC from going online. He does force a cancel on that. This is getting a little bit scary now for Piano. He's locked out from taking a 4th base anytime soon. Meanwhile, Flash taking his own 4th on that high ground position towards the center, and he's running it down on Piano. He is not giving any breathing room. There are some dropships that are going to maybe try and bomb out some units on top of these tanks, pulling the boys now to see if he can overwhelm as the units pop out of those dropships. Is it going to be enough to break this contain from Flash? I'm not so sure. There's still healthy count of Flash's tanks to contend with, and Piano is losing everything. This is really blowing out of proportion now for our caster Terran to hang on. It looks like he's moments away from maybe even tapping out of this game. Flash is racing ahead in every metric. He's going to have a 4th base online in just a moment here, and he's absolutely smashing in the front door of Piano and stopping him from even mining in this expansion.
Yeah, this is it. Piano about to tap out. There it is. GG. And Flash is the first one to get out of this group. Absolute stone face there as he takes care of business. He's got his sleeves rolled up, but he has absolutely wiped the floor here today at ASL. His group going out first. I mean, this is just awesome for every Brood War fan out there. We want to see as much Flash as possible. I kind of actually wanted him to maybe lose
It's
at
what I
least
was
one
saying to you
game so we
earlier.
could see more Flash. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe get a couple more games out of him, but wouldn't want him to go down uh, this early in the tournament. We want to see as much of him as possible. So seeing him in the round of 16 is amazing. He's probably going to be the very last pick in that ASL in that round of 16 group selection.
Well,
And Soma will have the honor of maybe moving him around, like switching him with somebody else and
yeah.
making potentially a real group of death.
Well, I think he might be the first pick. I think Sober might pick Flash first and then swap him to another group. That would be like what I think would be the most tactical option for Soma to go for, since he does have the luxury of picking first as the seed that from the previous tournament. But who knows? That might not happen. We might see some other craziness in the group selection stages in the ceremony. We do have some craziness that happens. You can't really know for sure what these pro gamers intend to do. And sometimes they also do a good job of hiding their intentions and kind of like turning it into a bit of a K-drama with some of the things they say and the way they act, not necessarily just for entertainment purposes, but also to kind of deceive the other pro gamers about where their head is at. So yeah, will be some maybe potential shenanigans, but I can very much see Flash getting picked first by Soma just to switch him later. I think that's a very tactically sound option with the advantage of Soma being able to pick someone first, but we'll see. Really big props and shout out to Flash here. Played like an absolute madman today. And as Saiyan was saying, I was kind of suggesting that it would be super sick if Flash actually lost one of these games. Not because I want him to go out, but because we would get to see him to play 3 matches. I think that would have been even more spectacular. But maybe also for the best that he doesn't give the impression that he's willing to bleed this tournament. That might also, give a bigger aura of fear about him when he faces off against some of those other guys in best of threes down the line in that round of 16 as well. And also big shout out to Piano. I mean, he's not even out of the group yet. He did a great job at kind of upsetting Rush in that game number 1 with that cheese, and he'll be joining us in the final match to see whether or not he's going to be facing off against Speed or Rush.
Yeah, he gave a great pathway forward for Flash because I was a little bit afraid, like maybe Rush could actually match Flash in the finals, but takes him out for him and gives Flash the direct line into round of 16. I still expect Rush to get out of this group. I made a prediction in a video before the round of 24 started that Flash and Rush would be getting out here, but I didn't think it would go quite this way. Rush being in the losers match, definitely not my expectation, and that's a desperate losers match, man. Like both of those two players, Speed and Rush, have been grinding out games like crazy. They're both really, really good. Actually, Speed, I heard, played a lot of BGH recently, so he wasn't playing so much 1v1, but in the 1v1s I saw from him, he was incredibly strong. He was looking really, really good. There was just that one mistake versus Flash that Flash capitalized on. Eating that one mine absolutely ruined the game for him. It just gave Flash so much momentum at a really precarious moment.
Yeah.
And, maybe that's a bit of the, Flash effect, that aura, him feeling like he's, he's up against Flash, one of the biggest games of his life, and ended up eating that mine. That maybe that's something that wouldn't happen in a regular TVT is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's definitely something to consider. Flash just has a different kind of aura that permeates about him especially when you're on stage with him. Like it's not that big a deal when you're playing online, but when you're offline, the cameras are on, the lights are on, it gets pretty intense pretty quickly, man. Don't go anywhere, guys. Gonna go into a little bit of a break here. We've got the Group E losers match coming up soon. It's gonna be Speed versus Rush. Don't go anywhere.
Okay, here we are with the losers match, Rush versus Speed. Looks like a lot of people tapped out. Looked like a lot of the audience tapped out as well as soon as Flash left. Uh, but you know, it is what it is. Flash, he's the showstopper. He's the star of the show. He brings in the audiences, and that's why it's such an exciting season of ASL. Glad to see him make it out of this group. He's gone out first, and we're in kind of a weird situation here where we actually have to eliminate one of these two amazing players, Speed and Rush. I'm kind of hoping that Rush doesn't get eliminated. As much as I like Speed,
Right.
I feel like this is like I can't imagine that Rush would not be here. It's kind of like the fact that Effort's not in this tournament,
Yeah,
right?
it's
It's
kind of
like,
crazy.
how is Effort not here? He missed out on, if you guys don't know the story, he missed out on the signups. I think he was doing coaching or something like that, and
Yeah,
he
he
just
was.
didn't sign up. So kind of crazy that he missed out on the final season of Flash. But it would be also insane and kind of unbelievable if Rush didn't make it through here today.
Well, let's jump into it, guys. The losers match, Group E, Rush versus Speed on Attitude.
All right, Rush spawning bottom left. There he is on screen. Speed top left. Sexy. 10-minute Flash, aka Speed. Been a big fan of this guy for a long time, but Rush is just, he's on such another level right now. His TVZ is, it's so scary, man.
Yeah.
It's so crazy scary. Oh, look at that. ASL jacket with Speed on the back. Guy's a big fan, hoping that Speed can make it through. I definitely, I know the feeling. I really like this guy as a player. He is a great Terran player, and he's made so many great leaps and bounds, but Rush is another level again, another
Right.
level of Terran player.
Yeah, I mean, both of these guys are seriously good in TVT, but this match is a little bit of a heartbreaker. Like, I really do like Speed as well, and it would be nice to see him stick around, see if he can go deeper into the tournament. He's always performed really good in the round of 24, just not so good in the later stages, and that's the thing, is like, I want Rush to win just because I feel like Rush is a contender that can go super deep into the tournament all the way through to the final four, whereas I don't think Speed is getting into the semifinals, so would rather him win this one. But either way, I'm going to be a tiny bit heartbroken despite who could go out here. It's a shame, but it is what it is. Such is the brutal nature of reality here at the ASL, especially with that best of one format. Seems like Rush playing a tiny bit more aggressive with this forward barracks. He's not going to try and kill Speed or anything like that. It's just for faster scouting purposes, and sometimes you can punish if they only make one Marine. You can make 3 and run it down, or even if they make 2 and you get the first shot off on with the first Marine. You know, things can happen. You can still get a little aggressive with that, but I doubt Speed will play greedy here and only make 1 Marine, so I don't think we'll see anything too eventful happen.
Yeah, shouldn't be anything too crazy. Speed scouting out on the map now. Just gonna go ahead and check top right. Both players scouting the wrong direction, so gonna be a bit of a later scout. Nothing crazy though. Both players just getting into their factories, and looks like both players pulling off of gas as well. So gonna be throwing down a quick CC after this. And yeah, we're just gonna have a nice TVT opener here. Gotta be careful for those little mid-game mistakes. Speed can't be making any errors like he did versus Flash, or he's gonna get punished the same way. Rush is crazy good, and he will not let that slide.
Yeah, and both players playing effectively identical for the time being, it seems. You can optimize in different ways with the gas mining. Like, you can stop mining it completely, not just leave one on gas, but then it becomes a little bit trickier of when you need to put the SCVs back on gas. Requires a bit more finesse, so sometimes it's safer just to leave one on gas. A bit of aggression here from Rush. As you can see, he did elect to make those 3 Marines and start to produce a bunker here, and the natural does catch the Marine on the high ground without suffering too many mischances. So nice little early game aggression from Rush while also throwing down his CC. So he's going to get his expansion on location and force Speed to make the CC on the high ground. Nice little early game advantage for Rush to play with.
Yeah, that bunker rush has been more and more popular recently. We haven't seen it yet so far in the ASL round of 24 in TVT, but I've seen it quite a lot in Pro League and other places. It just seems like a really strong way to play if your opponent is being just a tiny bit greedy. Two Marines generally not that greedy of a play, but I was able to come in and punish anyway. Quite a few missed shots on that high ground, but didn't matter. Rush able to get this bunker down, and yeah, he's just gonna have to eat this this kind of bad position here. There's gonna be mines out in a second. Rush is gonna start throwing down mines absolutely everywhere. He's gonna have map control. He's gonna have a faster rally over to the natural with his SCVs, and Speed can just shove this down with the tank once that comes out, but the fact that he had to make a tank this early doesn't bode well for him.
Yeah, and with the configuration of the bunker being like this, the SCV is harder to punish that's repairing it as well, because obviously the bunker's wider than it is taller. So this is a nice little gambit here from Rush. Gonna see if he can land down some mines on top of that CC spot. Good target firing from Speed, but he doesn't kill the other mine. So he can't actually land this CC on location, and he loses his vulture. Good micro there from Rush. This is really annoying for Speed to contend with. SCV gonna buff up that vulture's HP just a little bit and go back on to the bunker as well to give that some sustain, laying down more mines where that CC wants to get landed later on as well. Being as annoying as possible here is Rush. This bunker's about to go down since he can't repair those two tanks, but he also can't land the CC now with those mines there.
Yeah, he can't land the CC, and clearing this is really scary, man. He will eventually move forward to clear this, but he's got to be super, super careful. Oh my god, he takes the damage there. That's so frustrating, but at least he doesn't lose a tank. He's able to land the CC, and we'll just be able to repair that back up. Really nice damage from Rush, though, slowing down the CC by so much and forcing the repair here. This is just getting better and better for him. I really like the opener.
Yeah, and the barracks of Speed identifies the free factory count of Rush in the main base, but he's not producing pure vulture out of this. He is making some tanks of his own. So we're not going to see a pure vulture war from either side. I imagine we'll see a decent count of vultures, though. I think both players will pump out a few vultures along with their initial couple of tanks. You can see the vultures starting to pull there for Speed. I'm sure Rush is going to make a few of his own as well. Maybe not quite as many as Speed, but enough to not just get absolutely eviscerated in the trades. Probably prioritizing his tank production more, and also wants to get his tech online. We got an armory on the way now for Rush as well. Speed trying to wrap around with the vultures to the mineral-only location here at the third. Maybe see if he can get a run by, but Rush isn't having any of it. He's got his army nice and tucked in that rally point location to shut everything down.
Giving up a little bit of map control here, but it's what he has to do with so many more vultures out on the map for Speed. You've got to be wary of, moving shot on the vultures, taking out your whole vulture army. So he's just keeping it tucked and in a good defensive position. Starting to move out a little bit. Very dangerous to try and move forward right now. When you don't have scans, you can't reveal these mines. And there's so many vultures wrapping around. If he manages to slip by directly into the natural past Rush's army, that's going to be so brutal for Rush to deal with. And in fact, he's going to hit from two different sides, kills 3 vultures basically for free there, trying to hit on either side, not able to find a way in with these vultures. So Rush avoids disaster, but nice little pickups here and there for Speed.
Yeah, he's got really good spotter mines, does Rush. However, if Speed had gone via the 6 o'clock with those vultures, he might have caught Rush off guard there, but he keeps coming down directly, so Rush is spotting that every time with those mines, so he's not really able to catch Rush off guard, at least for the time being. Additional factory now coming up from Rush. He's got his academy, so he's going to throw up some comsats. That'll help him clear out the minefield in the center. He's being very tentative about how he comes out onto the map until those scanners are online to start clearing those. So good map control for Speed for time being, but now that the scanners are on, we will be seeing Rush clear through these minefields and maybe get a little bit aggressive, but that does open up to a counter attack. There are 2 tanks covering that lane to the south there, and actually Speed doesn't want to pounce on that, maybe not having too many mines available to just jump on those tanks, and also can't really risk losing too many of these vultures. He needs them defensively now as well.
Yeah, he's gonna be pulling back right now. Rush took a mine hit on one of those tanks, but he's gonna bring an SCV forward to get that repaired back up, and starting to take a bit of map control here. Should be a 3rd base coming online relatively soon as Rush keeps pushing forward. I'm gonna try to take as much map as he can here in the center, and Speed putting up his tank line, but it's a very conservative tank line, way back towards his natural right now. Rush has a ton of space on the map. Speed rotating around, could be looking for another opportunity to counterattack.
Yeah, this could do something. If he's got a few mines available, he could potentially pounce on those 2 tanks down there and get some damage done, but it would sandbag the effort, and Rush has plenty of vultures on his own, so he can quickly rotate around to defend against that. So maybe Speed thinking better of it, instead just taking his 3rd base on location at that 12 o'clock, and hasn't yet seen an expansion from Rush, although he's just now spotting an SCV down here to try and do the same, but there's a mine blocking that placement, and also gives a bit of intel to Speed here that is Rush's intentions. Oh, a bit of a vulture trade now. Speed has so many more vultures than Rush, but with the tanks there, you have to rotate around and avoid direct engagements. Comes down here to lay down some more mines, rotates to that 6 o'clock expansion to kill that SCV off, slow down the 3rd base timing here from Rush. Also can now utilize this high ground to get a better trade against the vultures of Rush and make it a little bit of an awkward situation for Rush overall. Like, Rush is actually taking the mineral only now as a supplement expansion just because of the slowdown, which is great for Speed. He even picks off the SCV building that, getting so much slowdown on the economy of Rush.
Yeah, Rush having a bit of an attack coming in here. Diving directly on this tank line. Hold on. This is a crazy play. Speed coming in from behind this. Oh my god. Rush actually might get completely shut down.
Wow.
Are there any mines with these vultures? It doesn't seem like he has any mines here, but he absolutely destroys, dismantles this push forward. Rush getting a little bit too eager here to make something happen and gets completely dismantled. It's not like he's gonna immediately lose this game or anything, but that was a lot of tanks to suddenly go down for a push like that from Rush.
Yeah, and Speed is basically bamboozling him right now. And while that was all going on, he slipped in with 1 vulture to shut down the SCV, building that CC yet again, and he's doing it for a 3rd time. Oh my gosh, Rush not catching a break, but actually that was a flash SCV, not an Artosis SCV, so he actually manages to kill that vulture before losing the SCV this time around. At least a little bit of luck going Rush's way, but meanwhile Speed already mining at that 3rd expansion, getting the gas online as well, whereas Rush will be, you know, on 2 gases for a much longer period here, so definitely a big edge going to Speed. Rush technically has more territory seized in the center of the board, so you could argue positionally Rush is ahead, but in terms of raw economy, Speed's doing fantastically, now getting a pounce into the natural expansion with some vultures of Rush. Mine connection not quite finding the tank. Get good target firing, making sure that got shut down. Now though, the SCV line getting ravaged a little bit, quite a few going down, putting Speed ahead on supply overall. Rush could be in a little bit of trouble here. Just having a mineral only for his 3rd base, it's not that great. He has got a small upgrade advantage. It's +1 weapons to 0-0 for Speed, but really it's that +2 weapons breakpoint that actually matters. Rush gonna double expand, get that 6 o'clock set up. He knows how desperately he needs that 3rd gas, but there are vultures in position to disrupt that.
Speed's got a bit of a upgrade advantage for now, continuing to rotate around, looking to slow down the CC, but it seems like Rush will get that online. He's pushed back the tank line far enough that, you know, Speed's not feeling threatened, but he hasn't tried to push forward himself. Like, he could take quite a bit of space in the middle of the map, but he's staying very static, still with the same tank line, that he had, you know, minutes ago when Rush attacked into him and lost a lot of his stuff. Getting caught by a mine here in the middle of the map. Rush takes some damage. Dropship coming into the main. Gonna be dropping off some vultures here in a moment, trying to get some harassment going. But you know what? Rush is right in position. He's gonna shut this down real quick. And since that didn't really do any damage, yeah, this is gonna go down immediately. He's going to lose this as well. Oh my god, a second dropship goes down. These are big mistakes from Speed, and he's giving Rush a lot of momentum back in this game.
Yeah, this is looking better and better for Rush now. After shutting down those drop attempts so effectively, and also Rush double expanding, getting that 6 o'clock online as well, making the gas even before the CC is finished. He knows how important that additional 300 gas a minute is going to be for him. He's looking better and better. He's got more territory gained, like I was saying, in the center of the map. Positionally, Rush looks better, and he's actually winning out on the trades recently because of those dropships effectively going down for free. That was a lot of supply that just evaporated for Speed. Suddenly, Rush is in a pretty commanding position. Speed not going to go down without a fight, though. He's also stopping any potential for Rush pushing down on this 9 o'clock position. Speed will probably want to expand there, as well as keep a strong foothold towards the center of the map. He hasn't got control of the center, but he needs to shut down the lanes of access that Rush will have around the map, like that base at the 9 o'clock. It's really important to keep control of that ramp, and he's going to expand there now. It'll be a lot harder for him to get the top right quadrant of the map under control, at least for the time being. So you can see him making a gambit for that 9 o'clock instead, whereas Rush can split the map horizontally and get the bottom right quadrant under control immediately. And you see 2 CCs on the way down there already.
Yeah, this is a bit of a funny position. Rush taking the other quadrant of the map, and Speed foregoing that for now. He's actually pushed up here, and he might be able to cut off Speed's supply to top right completely for now. Big tank line getting set up over here. I feel like Speed is being a little bit slower when it comes to moving his tank lines around than Rush. I feel like Speed could have had a tank line over at top right a little bit earlier, but look at this run by, actually getting some very good damage with the vulture play. Picking off quite a few SCVs. This isn't going to go nearly as far as the positioning advantage of Rush, though.
Yeah, in TVT, position usually is everything. There's some exceptions to that. I mean, tempo can play a big role. Just because you have a good position doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win the game, but it does tend to indicate who's actually ahead, regardless of what the supplies will tell you or anything else. But yeah, tactically, this looks fantastic for Rush. He's going to have a much better economy. The fact that he's got so much control around the map is really huge. He's even got a science vessel now. You can use D-matrixes to get such good trades with the tanks. You can see a preemptive D-matrix there from Speed to try and hold that high ground position at 9 o'clock while wrapping around from behind, from the center as well, trying to shut down Rush from gaining ground towards that 9 o'clock. He needs to hang on to that base desperately. It's probably his last beacon of hope in this game. It's going to take him such a long time to split the map in the similar fashion that Rush has, and if he can't hang on to this 9 o'clock base, it's essentially lights out. Here comes a D-matrix from Rush on the low ground as well to keep the pressure online at this expansion for Speed. This is the crucible of most of the action for the time being. Both players have that +2 weapons upgrade, so neither one has an advantage. There is an armor upgrade for Speed, but it doesn't really come into play in most interactions unless there's Goliaths and Vultures involved.
I mean, this is a great tactic from Rush. He's just keeping all the attention on center left and forcing Speed to react to this push over here. And that means Speed's not moving towards top right and actually securing the other quadrant of the map. So actually, it looks like he slipped one SCV over to top right. I'm not sure how that made it over there.
Maybe a drop
shot. But it seems like he's managed to throw down a CC in that spot. So that's kind of a good move from him. These drops heading down towards bottom right. Looks like they're going to be countered by Rush. However, big army movement through the middle of the map, and there's actually not a lot to defend this. It's kind of going unchallenged here pretty far across the map. Pick up, or he sets down and then picks back up immediately once again. Speed making so much ground here by just threading the needle and going between all the forces of Rush. He's almost right at the natural in bottom right. And he's going to be dropping here at bottom center at the same time. And a run by, dude, doing 3 things at the same time and pushing Rush to the absolute limit.
This is crazy play from Speed, really high-level stuff, and honestly could be just the ticket that he needs to come back into this game. This is really disruptive for Rush. He will eventually clean this up, but will sustain a lot of losses. Meanwhile, even picking off a few of those tanks with the Vultures is a great trade for Speed as well. He's killed a lot of the SCVs that were mining, shutting down too much of the mineral income, and the fact that he's getting this top right online while all of this is happening is going to be the main catalyst to allow a potential comeback to occur here for Speed, but it's not over yet. This is great to disrupt the positional advantage of Rush going forward. He's also opened up the center of the map enough to start pushing across his own horizontal line and split the map into a more favorable position for himself. Rush is so distracted doing some crisis management, even losing a tank to a mine there's pretty huge, and this gives so much ground to Speed, man. He can set up such a strong stranglehold over this center region of attitude here and not really allow Rush to take advantage of that previous positional advantage anymore. This is fantastic for Speed. He can start shoving it down to this bottom right quadrant.
Oof, 12 kill tank there, and that was a misguided attack from Rush, sending in a bunch of a small handful of tanks, I guess, into that tank line and just losing everything. And now there's nothing to defend bottom right. I mean, there's such a big army that suddenly arrived down here, dude. Rush is being absolutely dismantled by the multitasking of Speed. I am shocked, but he is just completely outplayed here. Like, this is so many SCV kills now. Speed's just gonna win this game.
I think so. This is absolutely bonkers crazy, but it's not over yet. Like, maybe Rush has a tempo advantage with all these units committed to the bottom right. Maybe there's a way Rush can surge across the map, get control of the center, and put the pressure back onto Speed. I think he has to evacuate the bottom right. I don't think it's worth trying to save it. He has to go for a tempo play and try and shove it down to the northern hemisphere of the map while Speed has a lot of his army out of position. There is a big supply lead for Speed, ahead by about 40 or so, but maybe Rush can run it down on some of these weakened defensive positions of Speed and gain some ground. It seems like there's just barely enough prerequisite line of tanks to contend with that Rush is having second thoughts. He's instead now rotating down back to the bottom right to secure that instead. It seems like Speed is just everywhere and not allowing any kind of counterplays to come online for Rush.
I really like this from Speed. He forces the siege and backs out just out of range to make it harder for Rush to get a decisive fight and quickly retake that bottom right. And Rush didn't continue with that attack. It's kind of a shame here because top right is not well defended. If you just sent Vultures over to top right, he could have killed a lot of SCVs, but he wasn't able to do that at all. And now Speed's got +3 attack with +1 armor as well. He's ahead in almost every regard. And Rush is just starting to fall apart. Dude, I can't believe this is happening right now. I really thought that Rush was going to be advantaged in this fight, but Speed is putting on a beautiful performance today.
And most of Rush's actions are committed to just clearing out the bottom right. He's not really gaining a lot for this. He's just cleaning up on his previous mistakes still, while Speed has continued to grow during all of this. That CC even close to burning down. This is getting a little bit out of control here for Rush, and there are some dropships for Rush to utilize maybe in this game, but I don't think it's going to help enough. Speed is just absolutely everywhere now, starting to shove it down on the left flank in the center against a much weakened position of Rush. So many tanks have been committed to that bottom right quadrant that it's opened up the position for Speed to exploit close to the rally point location. There are dropships to be utilized here from Rush, but I'm not sure it's going to matter. Speed is just racing ahead in every metric.
Speed is playing a magnificent game. I think the real big turning point of this game was with that drop and like the 3-pronged attack that just pulled Rush left and right and really started to set him on the back foot, followed up by that drop in the bottom right. And since then, it really feels like Rush has been just trying to keep up, trying to clean up some of these messes that Speed has created. And now Speed's going to come in with 3 drops to bottom right. He's going to recreate the same situation that we just saw Rush deal with moments ago. Finally cleared up all of those units in bottom right, and now all of a sudden they're right back where they started. This is rough. Rush is going to have a real hard time dealing with this, and dealing with it effectively is going to be even harder. Dealing with it efficiently is going to be near impossible, and Speed is going to keep getting farther and farther ahead.
Yeah, you can counter dropships with dropships, but Rush seems to be always out of position with his own fleet of dropships, whereas Speed is able to produce more and more of his own. He's going to reconsolidate this position in the bottom right. He's got 6 dropships making their way downtown now. He's taken the natural expansion in the top right. He's got so much more resources coming in than Rush does right now. Rush also loading up some dropships. If he brings them down to the bottom right here and now, that would be great. But they actually get scanned. Speed just scanned the dropships of Rush. He knows their positioning. He knows they're slightly behind schedule in punishing his own drop play in the bottom right. So he's going to go for it. Good D-Matrix there from Rush on one of those low ground tanks. Here comes another massive unload of units for Speed. You can see Rush trying to counter this drop with his own. Let's see if he's successful. That's a pretty good unload from Rush. Is it going to be enough to get a cost-efficient trade, though? Not as ideal as it could have been from Rush. He still loses pretty much every unit there. He will be gradually cleaning out this attack in the bottom right, but he lost the CC. Meanwhile, Speed ahead in supply, has additional bases online than Rush does. This looks like a war of attrition that Speed is almost destined to win at this point.
It's definitely looking that way, Xun, but there is a potential here for Rush as he gets this bottom right base online once again. I feel like Speed can do almost whatever he wants, as long as he doesn't make a huge mistake, like dropping on top of mines. Every move that he makes should get him closer to victory. Like dropping bottom center, dropping bottom right, basically whatever he wants to do. It's going to be hard for Rush to clear, and that'll just keep Speed further and getting further and further ahead, pushing towards the natural. Yeah, this is a decent idea as well. Just putting the pressure on absolutely everywhere, and he's actually slipped directly through the net here. Rush didn't see this coming, and so the unload is already there. Quite a few tanks end up going down in the initial unload, but he will once again prevent this base down in bottom right, and Rush is going to have to load up dropships again to go ahead and clean this, just creating the problem over and over again. And I think that Speed is actually moving towards battle cruisers during all this as well. He's got multiple additional armories up, and he's probably getting into those air weapons upgrades as we speak.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised to see him start to get those upgraded. He might not necessarily need battle cruisers to close out this game, but it's really good idea to keep that option open and get the upgrades ahead of time, no matter what you're doing. Even if you just want to make a round of Wraiths, those upgrades can come into play very effectively as well. And now Speed starting to look to the left-hand side of the map with these dropships. Now that all of the resources have been gathered down in the bottom right to defend those attacks, maybe leaving the rally point slightly susceptible to an attack of its own, and does seem like that is the case. Speed being as annoying as possible, stretching Rush to and fro, and this is looking dicier and dicier for our Terran Rush here. It just doesn't look like he's able to clean these up effectively enough, and he's still not building a CC in the bottom right. He's starting to dry up with his income. He can't afford to produce units out of every factory and throw down CCs. He's running into being caught between a rock and a hard place right now. There's no easy answers for Rush at all. He's kind of counting on a mistake from Speed. He almost needs Speed to start making some big blunders to come back in this game, and Speed isn't doing them. Speed is playing an absolute masterclass in TVT here. He's maxed out. He's got a massive bank. He's getting all of the upgrades just in case, and the positional play has been phenomenal. You can see Rush puffing out his cheeks and pursing his lips there. He knows how much he's up against it right now. GG is called, and a bit of an upset as Speed slaps down Rush and will be joining us for the round of 24. Rush eliminated from the ASL. Absolute craziness.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe Rush is out already. That is wild to me, but that's the magic. That's the difficulty of playing round of 24, man. Best of
Yeah,
ones are rough. I feel like if you put Rush against Piano, for 100 games, I'd say 90 of them probably Rush will win. He's
probably.
just so damn good. He is so strong, and he's been practicing his heart out. I put this guy, top 3 Terran players in the entire world, and he just
Right.
got knocked out by Speed. Speed played a great game here today. Can't take anything away from him. Uh, he absolutely capitalized on every uh, mistake that Rush made and really forced out some errors. Got extremely uh, creative with the multitasking there. Did so many little counterattacks. And guys, we're going to go to our break here for about 7 minutes. We'll be back for that final game. Oregon, aka Piano versus Speed. That's coming right up. All right, guys, it's time for the final match. Oregon versus Speed. Didn't think this is what we were going to have, but Rush has gone out first. Flash has made it through it already, and we have just one more slot left in the round of 16. Piano. AK Oregon. I mean, had a great opener, had a great game plan versus Rush to start us off. But can he pull out something similar versus Speed? I think he's definitely going to be on his toes and looking for something crazy. There's a lot of different things he could do. I'm sure we haven't seen all the plans from Oregon.
Right. I do think you kind of have to do something special here. I think if you play a standard macro game against Speed, you're going to have a bad time. I think another Proxy could be a 2-fact play. I think a Proxy works better than a 2-fact. I was saying to you off air there just a moment ago. But we'll see. I really do feel like you got to do something spicy here as Piano. I don't think you want to play a standard TVT against the likes of Speed, especially after what you just saw happen between Speed and Rush. That game looked insane. If I was Piano, I'd be shaking in my boots a little bit going into this final match. They did have a map ban as well. I don't read Korean, so I don't know what that was, but we'll find out what map they're playing on. Looks like it's Polestar here for our final match in the Group E, round of 24, ASL 21, final match. Let's get it on. Oregon versus Speed.
All right, Oregon, top right. There he is. Speed at bottom left. Big old map, Polestar. Gonna be a little harder to pull off something cheesy. Is it going to be a Proxy? Is it going to be a 2-fact? Maybe a Proxy 2-fact. Who knows? Get a little spicy. I think Piano needs to do something kind of crazy to make it work. If he goes for like Vulture War or something like that, I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
You know, like how is he gonna beat? How the heck is he gonna beat Speed? In just pure macro and just pure multitasking. We've already seen him take out one of the greatest players in Terran there in Rush just a little while ago in a straight up macro game as well.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is when you go for something like Vulture Wars, usually the player with the better mechanics wins. That's just the reality of it. It's such a task switchy way of playing TVT that usually the guy that's more mechanically sound wins out, and Speed is probably one of the fastest mechanically sound players in the Terran lineup, so maybe not the best idea to get into a Vulture War scenario with him. Looks like both players playing pretty orthodox for the time being. Barracks on the periphery of the base inside the main base really does limit your options for aggression, and both players taking the gas at 12 here, so for the time being nothing spicy from either of these gamers. And I'll be really surprised though if Piano doesn't have anything in store for Speed. I think he really does need to get a little bit creative here going forward. In a straight up macro game, I think you're going to be in a lot of trouble against Speed.
Speed running a wrist injury right now. I saw him over 600 APM there a minute ago. That's crazy. He's just so fast. It's unbelievable. And he keeps it up as well. He stays around 500 for most of the game, which is just incredible. Not just early game spam, but his EAPM is extremely high as well.
Right.
We've got the factories starting out, and Oregon not sending out a scout just yet. He's got a game plan here, and he's not looking to get early information on Speed, whereas Speed trying to get in here as soon as possible. He really wants to find out what Oregon is up to, and I can't blame him.
Yeah, Marine on the ramp though could easily body block that SCV and stop it getting inside the main base, as second Marine would also get the kill if it did start to slip by a little bit eventually. So he pulls back with that SCV after figuring out the spawning locations here. Cross map does put a bit of a dampener on some of the early game timings as well. Going to make it even harder for Piano to go for something slightly spicy in this game. Both players flowing their barracks towards one another now to get some follow-up scouting information for this game is fully underway, and this is about as orthodox as it gets from both sides here, it seems. CC on location, about the same time for both players. A couple of seconds quicker there for Piano. That's purely because of the extra mineral optimizations he's got. He could build the depot under the CC so the SCVs pop out closer, and the mining is ever so slightly optimized on the right hand side of the map for Piano as well, but it doesn't really mean too much here, just like a 1 or 2 second advantage.
Oregon managed to get the full scout of the main, but Speed got the confirmation on the CC, so he knows it's not like a 2 factory, I mean, like a proxy somewhere out on the map right now. Nothing too crazy. And can set himself up for a more normal game. Oregon Piano, did he actually build a bunker here at the front? I think it's just 2 Marines and a Vulture sitting there. Okay, 2 Vultures at the front, so we need to be very, very careful poking in like that. If you get the moving shot, oh boy.
Geez.
Oh, Speed doesn't react. He's going to lose this Vulture for free. That's a huge loss for Speed, actually.
It's really big. Like, that means that there's going to be a 4 versus 3 Vulture situation, which means you can 2-shot the Vultures off the board and get a crazy advantage. Some of these Vultures are softened up for Oregon here, so maybe with good target firing, Speed will be okay. We'll have to wait and see. There is obviously going to be 2 Marines defensively for Speed as well. That helps out. They suck up 4 of those fragmentation grenade shots and actually do a decent amount of DPS as well. So it won't be super easy for Piano to punish. And it looks like he's actually not going to be pulling the trigger on trying to do that. But as you can see, there wouldn't be that many Vultures available for Speed. It would have been a 4 versus 3 fight. Piano probably could have started to escalate, and he hasn't elected to do that. Not being a hyper-aggressive Terran here, just kind of sitting back and doing his own thing. Barracks is a little bit low for Speed, so he might not actually get this into the main base to confirm that it is a bit of a Vulture War scenario. I'm super surprised to see Piano feel comfortable enough to play this kind of game out with Speed. But he did catch the first Vulture, so a little bit of a early game motivator for him going forward. I do kind of worry for him a little bit against Speed in this situation, but who knows? Maybe he can pull this out.
I mean, he's got a lot more Vultures right now, and he's got the tank. In addition, Piano looks inside the main. He sees all the Vultures, and he's like, I think I got more than you, actually. I'm going to send the tank straight across the map and see what we can do. If he was attacking in right now, I think he might actually break this, man. Look at Oregon. He's got 10 Vultures into the 8 of Speed plus a tank. That would be an easy victory. Let's see if he can actually make this work. A run by here from Speed, but that's 1 less Vulture to defend back at home. Gonna poke in now, start to get these attacks on. Oh my god, Speed gonna lose a first Vulture here really early. Gonna have to pull the boys, pulling the SCVs right now to try and fight this, but a good pullback from Oregon. And he's going to take a bunch of SCV kills.
Wow.
Oh, dude. Dude, Speed is in so much trouble right now. I can't believe it.
This is crazy. I mean, just the fact that he's going to be able to keep the progression going as well. Oh, tank getting glitched out a little bit there, losing out on some possible DPS, getting targeted down by Speed as well. Finally clears out that tank, but there's so many Vultures here from Piano, just absolutely decimating the SCV count of Speed. Finally, we have a tank out for Speed as well to start trying to push this back. He needs to plug up this gap on the ramp with that tank as well, forcing a lot of missed chances out of these Vultures. Finally, mines starting to get laid down by Piano as he ramps up the aggression. He needs to get some mines on top of that tank ideally, but he has already done plenty of damage to Speed, even if he can't finish the job right here and now. Really impressive stuff from Piano, taking the fight to Speed like this, who's usually so good in this matchup. Here come the mines now. Good target firing from Speed, eliminating those mines before they have time to be planted and activated. Nicely done for the time being, though Piano still enjoying a healthy economy lead when all the dust settles.
Dude, Speed is so far behind now. He's lost so much. He's lost a ton of mining time in the natural, as well as so many SCVs. He was 1 mine connection away from dying there. If 1 mine had hit on that tank in the main base, he was absolutely dead. But he managed to barely live barely live. It's going to be such a difficult comeback here if Speed can possibly make it happen.
Yeah, going to be laying down a ton of mines now. Here's Piano. Much easier to get a third gas online on Polestar, it has to be said. So maybe Speed can claw his way back in this game and won't take him too long to set up additional economic expansions and what have you. Going to be pushing in though now is Piano. Slight vulture lead as well. With good target firing, he should be able to overwhelm Speed in the natural expansion. More vultures showing up to the party as well. This is starting to escalate out of control for Speed as more SCVs are forced off the line and can now also be targeted down by Piano, consolidating his already pretty significant economic lead in this game. This is wild. How is this happening? A caster from the KCM is beating some of the best Terran players in the business and could be going through to the round of 24, the round of the 16 here in the ASL. This is just wild, man. I would not have expected this game to unravel in this fashion in a million years. Really impressed with Piano here, taking the fight to Speed in the most mechanically demanding TVT style, no less.
I'm not afraid to admit I was wrong about Piano, man. Like, this guy came out of nowhere, and absolutely he is crushing it here in the round of 24. How long has it been since Piano even got into the ASL? It's been a long time since we've seen him, and he is one of the oldest players to ever make it into an ASL. I think he's the first player over 40 to make it into the ASL, and he is doing incredible here, showing that age is just a number, and you can play at an incredibly high level in Brood War, even into your later years. It's just incredible from Oregon here today. Like, I don't know if there's any shot of a comeback from Speed after how much damage has been done. He almost lost the command center to vulture fire. It's crazy what Oregon has been able to do. And these mines have just been shutting him out from getting down onto the slow ground with that one tank for such an incredible amount of time that, yeah, there's just no way. There's wraiths coming in now, targeting down SCVs one by one. I doubt that he's got an armory. Head drops to the side here for Speed. GG is called, and he taps out. Oregon, head down. He is overwhelmed by the moment here as he makes it through into the round of 16.
Wow, I'm getting a little bit emotional for him too. This is a great underdog story in the ASL. I had this guy pegged as the lowest win percentage of getting out of this group, and I'm so happy to be wrong about this guy, man. What a great showing here today from him. I was just banking on him being able to perform well. I never expected him to get out of this group, and giving himself a little bit of a round of applause, a bow to the crowd as well. This guy deserves the moment. He needs to lap up all of the experience of being here today and proving himself to still be capable of blowing the dust off his pro gamer card and taking out some of the best TVT players in the game. Oh my God, saying what is even happening? The script writers have been doing overtime for this ASL. Jeez.
This is incredible. It's been such a long time, again, since we've seen Piano in the ASL. Not since season 14, guys. I've got it up here. Season 14, he went out in the round of 24. And also in season 11. Man, it's been that long. Holy cow.
It's been a while.
I mean, he's been here all along, though, as a caster, as an entertainer. Finally, like you said, dusting off that ASL pro player jacket and showing up here in the ASL, doing amazing. Look, he's very emotional right now. Looks like he might even start to tear up as he gets interviewed. He's really made a statement here today that Piano, he's still capable of winning games here at the very highest level.
I mean, just, I'm blown away. Like, he's a married man. He dedicates a lot of his time to just casting. I can see why he's getting emotional and caught up in the moment. I mean, I think anyone would in his position. He deserves all the credit he's getting and more for that performance. I can't imagine this guy's going super deep in the ASL, but it doesn't matter. He's basically proven something to himself and a lot of people here today just by surviving this trial by fire. First doing a genius cheesy strategy on Octagon against Rush and having great execution and closing out that game, and then to go toe to toe with speed in a vulture war. Like, I think if you pretty much ask anyone in the Brood War scene, so Piano is against speed and they both go vulture war, who wins that? I think quite literally everyone is saying speed. Like, I mean, that just sounds right, you know? And he proves all the doubters wrong, myself included. I'm so happy to be wrong about how this was going to pan out. I thought he had to do something a little bit spicy and creative to beat speed. I did not expect him to go toe-to-toe with him and just slug it out like that in a cross-map position, no less. Big respect to this guy here today.
Yeah, I think everything you said there, totally correct. Everyone underestimating this guy or, placing him very low on the totem pole of rankings for ASL. Going into the round of 16, I think he's going to have a huge target on his back. Probably going to be first or second pick, I imagine, for the ASL top four last season. We've got Bisu, who was it? Best, Soma, and Barracks were in the top four last season. So those four players are going to be, getting the benefit of picking first their opponents. And, a lot of players are going to be looking at Piano as a potential pick there, along with some of these other guys that have made it through. Like, definitely one of the lower ranked players to make it through so far, aside from maybe YSC or Ample.
Yeah, we did have a little bit of an underdog story already in the ASL, which is why the season's already shaping up to be so crazy. Ample had a similar story with his performance, and you could argue YSC too, although with YSC we kind of expected him to play really good as well. He played so damn well in the qualifiers. We weren't as surprised with YSC as maybe we were Ample and Piano, but we have had a few underdog upsets already occur here in the ASL round of 24, and this is shaping up to be an absolutely fantastic tournament already, guys. Don't sleep on tomorrow's group as well. We've got some big names. Group F, we've got Best, Later, Zero, as in Queen, and Jaedong. That's going to be a seriously sick group. Probably one of the hardest groups to call out of all six of these. If I was a betting man, I'd probably be saying Best and Jaedong. But, Best has been slipping a little bit in some of his recent performances. Jaedong's been playing so damn good, though, in the Pro League. He was very close to a 90% win rate at one point, which is just mind-bogglingly crazy. He has been dropping a few games recently, though, so maybe his power level ever so slightly dipping before the ASL, and there has been some disappointed fans. I'm just going to call it how it is. There's a lot of times where Jaedong looks fantastic going into the ASL and has a few disappointing performances. I hope this time will be breaking that trend and curse. I really do hope this is the tournament where Jaedong plays phenomenally well throughout the entire tournament. I want to see players like Bisu, Jaedong, and Flash deep into the tournament, at the very least the quarterfinals. And how sick would it be to get at least two of those gamers in the semifinals as well? We'd be having such a high viewership, so many people losing their minds to see these old beasts facing off against one another again here in 2026.
Yeah, as much as I was excited to see the Flash TVT group F is definitely my favorite group in the round of 24.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see Best and Jaedong play. I'm right there with you, Xun, with Best and Jaedong being my favorites. And in fact, I've been feeling Jaedong this season as well. He's my favorite for the ASL Championship this season, even though he has disappointed, as you said, in the past before. The level he has displayed recently is absolutely insane. And how crazy would it be to see a Jaedong versus Flash, round of 8, round of 4,
Mm.
or a finals? Like, that would be maybe one of the most viewed things in ASL history.
I think so. Can't think of a better way of this tournament shaping up. And for Flash's last ever tournament, most likely, I think it kind of has to happen. I really do hope the StarCraft gods are looking down at this moment and thinking, okay, let's make it happen. Let's make sure that we actually get to see some of these old school pros able to face off against each other. Like it's like honestly one of the oldest rivalries in pro gaming history. Jaedong versus Flash, especially, like they have so much mutual respect for each other. I remember when they played quite a few years ago, and they were on stage and they were having an interview and they were talking about each other in such reverence, man. And like, when they like turned to Jaedong and was like, well, what do you think of Flash? And Jaedong was like, Flash is God. And like Flash literally broke down in tears, like right then and there. Like it's so touching how these guys feel about one another. I really need them to face off against each other at least once more before Flash officially retires from the ASL, man. It's got to happen, please.
If there really are script writers out there planning this all out and making it happen, I think they're going to want the same thing as you, an epic conclusion to an absolutely illustrious career for Flash to face off against his old nemesis in the ASL here in 2026. That would be just such a beautiful way to round out his career. Win or lose, I think that's going to be, one of the best moments in StarCraft history.
I think so. Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed Flash's group here today, but really don't sleep on that group tomorrow. It's going to be crazy as well. As we were just saying, quite possibly the best group in the round of 24. It's going to be wild, and I really am super curious to see how well Jaedong is going to perform there. And King Kong himself, best, will be in action as well. Don't sleep on that group. I hope you've all enjoyed your stay with us today. I know we've had an absolute blast casting this. I'm sure I can speak for both of us saying with that. And if you do want to support what we do, just one more quick moment to say we do have a Patreon page at Saiyan Duocast. If you scroll down, if you're on YouTube, check the description or one of the comments. And thank you all for you guys supporting what we do. We absolutely love to do this. It's quite literally a dream come true, and we look forward to bringing you guys more great games in the ASL and for many seasons to come as well.
Yeah, go check it out, guys. And even if you don't want to support monetarily, go follow that page, and we'll be updating you to whatever we're doing, whether it be 2v2, KCM, any other casts that we end up working together on. We'll be updating you on that page, so give it a follow. Thank you guys for watching. We're done here for today, but tomorrow, an absolutely amazing group. We're going to see you there.
Thanks, guys.